One little simple thing could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And that's just to check your engine oil. I know we all know how to check our engine oil, right? Or at least most of us know how to check the engine oil of our car. But for those that don't know how to check the engine oil, or if you want to know about those things that you can buy at auto parts stores that supposedly stop um, engine leaks, or when the engine is leaking and you want to put something in there like what you put in radiators or in the cooling system to stop the leak for at least some time. If you want to know about that, I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end, if those things work or not. But let's start with the check your with the engine oil. Check your engine oil, and especially if the engine if it's leaking engine oil. And it's very important to do this. It's simple, but it's important to do it. And how often should you check your engine oil? It depends on how old your car is, and if it's burning oil, if it's leaking a lot of oil, or all of those things. If it's leaking oil, then you should check it at least once a week. At least once a week if it leaks oil, because if it goes low in oil, like if it goes below this mark right here, this is my car's dipstick, engine oil dipstick. I don't know if you can see this, but let's see if you can see this right here. You can see where the marks are, and you can see this minimum and maximum. Some cars will have like an M or an M, or some cars will have like L and H. L stands for low, or and H stands for high. But that's about it. It's simple. It's simple to go to do those things. But most of us, sometimes we don't do this. And I see a lot of cars that have bad engines because of low engine oil. And sometimes the cars will just die on the road. And if it dies on the road because of low engine oil, then the engine is bad. It has to be replaced. Or sometimes the cars will like I had this one. I think it was I remember that it was a Nissan Rogue, but it was newer than 2010. And this Nissan Rogue was a nice Nissan Rogue. It just that it was high mileage. It wasn't leaking oil. It was high mileage, so it was burning oil. And so, that engine is bad. It still had a little bit of oil in it, but it's a bad engine. It had low compression in it, so the car wouldn't start. It did that a couple of times before, but the owner did not get their oil change on time, and they didn't check their engine oil. So the motor was bad. It had to be replaced or rebuilt. So that's expensive. So doing that one little thing, checking the engine oil, is very important and could save you a lot of money. And the other thing is, so how do you check for the engine oil, or where is the dipstick? For those that don't know, well, on some cars it will say engine, like this one right here. I don't know if you can see that engine, or it will have an engine with a drip on it, like this one on this one right here. If you can see that, and usually it's a yellow dipstick, like this one, or it will be black, but it will always say engine. It will always say engine, or it will have like one of those like marks on it, like this one, or symbols, an engine symbol on it. Then it's for the engine. And so that's what you should look for in the under the hood, right? And I showed you how to check that. If it's between low or minimum and maximum, then it's good. If it's in between, if it's right at minimum, you should add at least, on this one it says on the dipstick that add 1 quart when it's at minimum. 1 quart of engine oil. And if you put what is it, synthetic engine oil in your car, then you should put more synthetic engine oil in it. Don't mix it with conventional and non-synthetic and all that, all those kinds of engine oils. So if you put synthetic engine oil in it, which you should put if it's a high mileage car, and if it's leaking engine oil, and that's not to stop the leak, but it's to help the engine so it doesn't go bad sooner than it should. So if it's in between the minimum and maximum, it's okay, and you should add more, and you should keep it at maximum if it's leaking engine oil. So if you forget to check it like next week, then you know that you will have engine oil in it, and you just have to add some more. All right, so that's that. Does it hurt the engine if it's leaking engine oil? Well, yes and no. It does hurt the engine if it's leaking oil, if you don't check it, if you don't keep it at maximum. If it goes below minimum, it will hurt the engine. So the engine will go bad sooner than it should. Do oil seal additives work? Do the oil seal additives work? Those additives that you can buy at auto parts stores that supposedly stop leaks? And the simple answer is no. They just don't work. I've used them, they don't work, and if you know of one that works, let me know. But they don't work because it's a leak. It's a leak. It's not something that you can like cooling systems. They have something in those additives. They have something in them that goes in the wherever it's leaking, and it gets stuck in there, and it gets hard. Then it doesn't leak anymore. But with engine additives, you can't do that. And what about flushing the engine to clean the engine inside of the engine? It's good to do that. I do that with my car to clean all the debris in the engine and all that black thing, so that the engine can be clean and all that. That's good to do, but usually you do that when you do your oil change. You put it in for 5 minutes, you turn on the car, you leave it there for 5 minutes, you don't drive it, and then you flush the oil and then put new engine oil in it. So that's that, and that's all I have for you. Those are the tips that I have right now for checking your engine oil. It's very important. I see many cars that go bad, or have a bad engine, or don't start, or stop working in the middle of the street or freeway because of a bad engine that has low engine oil in it. I see a lot of these, and so I thought I'd kind of give you some tips on that, on how to do that. And if you have any questions, let me know, comment on this video, and I'll answer them, and or even I'll make another video if this doesn't make sense. Okay.